Welcome to the Modern RPG Story Idea, Part 2 of Going Down the Dark Web Rabbit Hole. So if you didn't watch our first one, you can find it, but what I want to actually do is just do a quick recap of the general's idea, because then we're going to go in depth to the other way you could play it.
Yeah.
So if you've already seen the second one, check my chapter titles below. You should be able to then quickly jump to the next part of that. So here's how the internet works in a way, so you understand what the dark web is. So there's the facing part of the internet, which is basically your Yahoos, your Googles, your anything that you can actually get to from a search engine is the top level of the internet. I'm not going to go too far into this. Anything that's called the deep web is anything that's owned by typically a company. So it could be your company's intranet site, their HR, their documentation, plus any data and anything else they use for their business. So if you were to call Apple, for instance, Apple has a record of every time you've ever called them and what you called about and the notes from the technician for it. So would any other help desk company, that would be a part of the deep web because no one can quickly find it. But if you're an Apple employee and you have rights, you could find it. Then the next part is the dark web, which is where you have some nefarious things happening. Not always. You just have some really weird people hanging out there too. But you could have things like the Silk Road was a great example if you look that up. Because that was where you could sell drugs and guns and things in untraceable manners. And the governments have worked together to basically destroy those entire rings of things.
It took like 6 years to take down Silk Road.
So that's the dark web. So anything can happen on the dark web because it's not really monitored. There's no real one company or government that can say what should go on there. And everything is trying to be done in such a way that it's secret and it's untraceable. That said, it's not always secret and it's not always untraceable. So, but in this game, what we're talking about is a file or a video. I like the concept of a video where if somebody sees it, kind of the concept of the ring, like if somebody sees this video online, within a day or two, they're killed. And so basically that video is being propagated and kind of sent around into the dark web. And if your players have at least one person who knows computer hacking, they could be tasked to figure out why somebody's son has gone missing or daughter's gone missing. Or if they work for a government agency, they could be tasked with their boss to figure out what's going on with this video because they're seeing a lot of stuff and maybe some agents have already gone missing after seeing it.
You could also have them just be dabbling and finding it here.
They accidentally find it.
And then they join like a Reddit subthread on it, and a lot of the Reddit subthreads going missing.
Exactly, right. It's like, why? Where's so-and-so? Where's so-and-so? Where's that? Like, well, this is interesting. So they go investigate it. So investigating it, they find the video, and now they realize what's going to happen. And so the second way of doing it, if you want to hear one way of doing it, go watch your last video. But the second way of doing it would be this, that there's a dark web cabal of human traffickers. And the videos that they're putting out, it's not just one video. It's actually a video so like there's a concept called a Radis. You can look it up. There's some really cool videos on it. But you could do a thing where a keyword is used, and there's a bunch of videos or a bunch of certain images that have that tag on it. And basically, if you were to open up the tag, so you can embed data inside of video and image files. There's certain ways to do it. I don't know how to do it, but I know it's possible. And so what you could have is lists of manifests, lists of documentation, list of trafficking victims or their next targets or whatever you want this cabal to do, running drugs, whatever. And these images are how they'll just put an image out to a certain very specific subweb on the dark web where people can't get to it easily, but people have been leaking these images, and so now they have something where they're looking for people that are seeing those images because they don't know why they found them. Like, are they government agents? Are they coming to crack down on us? And so they preemptively just send hit squads, if they can, to people that have seen the image because they don't know what they've done with it. And so, but the images themselves are containing a ton of information for this drug or human trafficking ring that needs to be broken up. And that's where your players come in, is they've seen these things, maybe they've cracked them, and then that could be the clue where they realize, oh, well, this is happening at this warehouse. So they go to the warehouse and they start seeing a flood of activity at the warehouse. Now, to be fair, most of the guys are just temp workers. They have no idea what they're doing. They're just moving stuff around, right? And being paid not to ask questions. So they're like, great, 3 times overtime rate? Sure, I'll just move a crate from one end of a dock to a boat. That's fine. I don't care. And I'll just ignore weird red liquids at times and just go on with my life. You know what I mean? I'll just assume we're just hauling cows or something, you know? And so the question would then be like, what happens as your players are going through and discovering this is they become targets. And that would be a great way to open it up is there's like a hitman and they start noticing something's off, right? Your players notice something's off. So right before the hit goes down successfully, they notice something's off. They start moving to encounter it. And the next thing you know, they're realizing that they're being targeted, you know, and then that could lead off to a nice fun adventure where they're like, okay, who's targeting me? Why are they targeting me? They can start eliminating these assassins in, you know, whatever way is appropriate for your game, right? Could be full elimination, could be arrest, could be whatever. But then as they keep going forward, they start realizing like, oh, you know, this is connected to that thing we saw. Wait, here's these manifests. Let's keep digging. Let's keep digging. Let's keep digging.
One of the things you could do here as well to help them in places where
Yeah.
they might need help, since we're all dealing with dark web.
Yeah.
You could have some anonymous organization,
No.
more or less like Anonymous, that just hacks their computer and has like right before the hit, if they're not figuring it out, you could have their computer go haywire and it says run.
Run, yeah, or duck.
Or things like that. So you
Yeah.
could have some other unknown entity
Trying to help.
helping them, but not enough to.
Right, they know enough to, they cracked a code and realized, oh, there's a hit. I saw this image and there's a hit now at this number. I know that I can get the IP address for the computer at that place. I can send a message, I can hack their machine and send a message to them.
Yep.
Hopefully. And if they get it, great. If not, then I'm just going to erase my tracks from ever being there. But then they can start maybe trying to find the other group and pair up with them. And that could be where you get another government agency involved or something along those lines. I think it's a kind of a fun little deal there where, I mean, long term, obviously you're rooting out the entire organization, or maybe you can just make it a quick thing where, you know, 1 or 2 game sessions, they come and they cut the head off that snake and it's just done. Like the people that were lower enough levels, if they do recombine, they're not looking to get revenge on what happened. They're just looking to kind of cover their tracks for the next time. So they don't have to, you know, how do we not get hit the next time on this? Like, what do we do better? So anyway, that's 2 ideas basically. If you watch the last episode, you watch this one on how you can use certain concepts in modern RPG from the dark web and combined it a little bit with some kind of like The Ring, which is supernatural, but this wouldn't be supernatural at all. This would be 100% grounded in a possible reality. Well, with that, we'll see you next time.